A few years ago, with the introduction of Station Playlist version 5, we produced a series of tutorials to help get you started. Since that time, there have been a number of updates and improvements, and now that version 6 has been released, it's time to revisit those basics. Once again, we'll be using Creator Pro and its associated playout program, Studio Pro, to set out the basic steps to create a playlist for an FM radio station called Easy FM. A mixture of country and easy listening music, but the principles apply whatever the format you're aiming for. Your music files will be on hard disk and can be arranged into folders in a variety of ways. For example, many of the mainstay country music tracks used on Easy FM are contained on a library of CDs from TM Century, so the folder TM Century has a subfolder for each CD containing the tracks themselves, while later tracks have been downloaded from music distributors such as Play MPE and are arranged by date. Most music files already have some form of file tagging, so the first step when you get a new batch of tracks is to open Track Tool and scan the files to automatically calculate cue, overlap and segue positions and store the results in the SPL file tag of each file. You can also select the option to use Replay Gain, which will calculate the average loudness of the tracks so that each track averages the same volume during playback. Selecting properties for each track or group of tracks will allow you to enter more information, which will help in song selection when you start using Creator to categorize your music. Another feature of Track Tool is the ability to set the intro duration, which is determined by the position in the song where the vocals start, also known as the song ramp. This is important when you start using sweepers or voiceover intros over the start of your songs. Just click play, listen to when the vocals start, and click set under the intro duration, which you can then hear by clicking test. Okay, having got our tracks in some form of order, let's open Creator. You'll notice that this now has a black background, but you can go into General Options and change that. In most radio station formats, there are 3 basic categories. The first contains the most current and popular songs that are going to be the feature of the radio station. The second is recurrent, which contains the songs that have recently been in the first category, and the third is for classic tracks that are not current but fit the overall sound that the station is looking for. For Easy FM, we've called these categories A, B and C. Now this is very basic, and Creator gives you much more control over the selection using such variables as mood, tempo, year or gender should you wish, depending on how much information you give Creator to work with through the use of file tags. For example, you might want to create a category that gives you all of the female country artists of the 1980s. So you click on New and give the category a name. Add the music drive and click on Include Subfolders, then click on Criteria and enter the details you want for this category. Click OK, and Creator will then go through the folders and select the tracks that meet the criteria. Once it's finished, select the new category and click on Track List, and there are all of the files. Now that was a fairly simple example, and you can see that the more fields you have in your track properties, the more control you have over the categories that you can create. Having created our categories, let's turn our attention to spot groups, which are similar to categories except that they usually contain a smaller number of audio files such as station IDs, jingles or advertisements. Click the Spot Groups button on the left to show the Spot Groups page, and we'll recreate the Station IDs group. Add the files in the same way as for the music in categories. We're also going to define the spot group type as voice intro, so the IDs will play over the song ramp that we created by giving the song files an intro duration and sort them randomly. So now we have a range of music sorted into categories and some station IDs to play between them. Let's move on to the next stage, which is rotations. A rotation is defined by selecting the music categories in the order desired for 1 hour of scheduling. The first rotation created will be flagged as the default rotation. On the rotations page, click New, give the rotation a name, and drag categories and spot groups on the left over to the rotation list on the right several times until the approx time at the top of the list is over 64 minutes. Click OK to create the rotation. The duration on the left of each category in the rotation list is only an estimate of when the track from this category will be played. The times are based on the average length of all tracks in each category. For Easy FM, we've created 6 rotations to cover the full 24-hour day. The next step is to create a schedule. A schedule is a list of 24 time slots, one for each hour of the day. Each time slot is assigned a rotation to use for the hour. This is where you select which rotations will be used at different times of the day and/or days of the week. On the Schedules page, click New and give the schedule a name. Click on the arrow to place a rotation from the left over to the schedule list on the right for each hour, then tick the days of the week that this schedule will be used. For Creator to generate a playlist for every day of the week, all 7 days of the week need to be ticked somewhere in the list of schedules. Click OK to create the schedule. Next on the left are related artists and related titles. These are used for the situation where 2 or more artists need to be considered as the same artist as far as the artist repeat interval is concerned. This is often necessary for artists known by more than one name, or where an artist has recorded as a solo artist and also in 1 or more bands or a duet. The primary artist is the artist that all secondary artists will be referred as when internally testing the artist repeat interval. It's recommended that at least one song exists in your library with the name of the primary artist. The same artist may appear in 2 or more records as secondary artists. Related titles is used for the situation where 2 or more titles need to be considered as the same title as far as the title repeat interval is concerned. This is often necessary for titles with the same tune but having a different title, such as some Christmas songs, or the same song in a different language. The primary title is the title that all secondary titles will be referred as when internally testing the title repeat interval. Now we'll create a playlist. Click the General Options button on the left. The start day and hour is the day and time you want your playlist to start from. For simplicity, it's recommended leaving the hour at 0000. All new playlists will start at midnight, and it's often easier to work with whole days when generating a playlist. The next option down the General Options page is the number of days you wish to generate a playlist. The default is 1 day, but if your programming requirements are static from day to day, then you may wish to generate a playlist every week. In this case, set the option to 7 days. Up to 90 days is supported. Next is separation rules. The track separation intervals default to 0, which disables all separation protection. We've changed those to reflect the Easy FM format, but they will be different for a CHR format, for example. You can also override some of these settings for a particular category, should you wish, in Category Properties. On the Playlist Format Options page, pull down the selection list beside the playlist format setting. This displays a list of some automation players which require a specific playlist format. We're using Station Playlist Studio version 6. We're now ready to create a playlist. Click the Create tool button to create a playlist, then click Start. It's important to click the Save All button. This saves the scheduled dates and times for each track scheduled in the playlist, so the song, artist and title separation intervals will work when you generate a playlist for the next period. The Save All will also move the start date to the next playlist period. Creator may then be closed. This process of generating a playlist does not need to be manual. Once you are up and running normally, it's possible for a playlist to be generated automatically.